Hey guys, thanks for tuning into the channel. As usual, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Please share as well if you like the content. And let's get into this. So, I haven't discussed at all the George Lucas sequel plans. I know some people have done some really extensive like Star Wars theory stuff like that. I'm not going to do like a big, huge, long thing. I'm just going to kind of focus on this summary article and just look at kind of some of the ideas. Some of the stuff I've heard seems kind of weird, but I don't know. Let's just see what happens here. I had planned for the first trilogy to be about the father, the second trilogy about the son, and the third trilogy to be about the daughter and the grandchildren. Episodes 7, 8, and 9 would take ideas from what happened after the Iraq War. Okay, you fought the war, you killed everybody, now what are you going to do? Rebuilding afterwards is harder than starting a rebellion or fighting a war. When you win the war and you disband the opposing army, what do they do? The stormtroopers would be like Saddam Hussein's Ba'athist fighters that joined ISIS and kept on fighting. The stormtroopers refused to give up and the Republic went. Okay, so I sticking to his usual thought process, making the third trilogy about the grandchildren, and when I did my rewrite, and you see that in my episode 7, it's Rey and Ben are both related to Skywalker family. They're Skywalkers. They're Solos, but I mean they're latest kids. So, and that was kind of what was missing in the canon sequel trilogy, is that they made Rey a nobody, but they marketed it for years as the Skywalker saga. But then in the end, the Skywalkers are all dead, and I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know. So again, that was George's vision, and I think that was the main thing that they truly missed. As far as the stormtrooper stuff, I mean, you got to explain why there's still an empire. I've heard some other stuff, stormtrooper planets or something that seems kind of weird, but let's just keep on reading here. There's nothing wrong with any of that. The Imperial Remnant Lucas describes wouldn't have been the main threat of the new trilogy. Their fight would have created a power vacuum that allowed the long simmering power base of Star Wars' criminal underworld, an idea Lucas has long been fascinated with and had big plans for. Yeah, and even in my rewrite, there is that element. There was something going on behind the scenes with this gangster and stuff like that. So that makes sense. That's a good way of doing it. Now, this is where I get a little confused. We're risen to confront our heroes and remnant alike, led by a familiar face, Darth Maul. How many times are you going to kill this guy, man? Like, it's getting, like, this is too much. And I love Darth Maul for what he was in Episode 1. I didn't need any more of him. Or if I could have, I would have preferred to see more of him pre his death at the end of Episode 1. I thought bringing him back was weird in the first place. That's my personal opinion. I didn't like Clone Wars with the weird witch stuff to keep him alive and all that. It didn't feel very Star Wars-y to me. Well, I was not a big fan of that. Now we're saying he's been killed again by Obi-Wan. From what it looks like, it's not very graphic, but he basically cuts his chest in half. And yet now he's back yet again. So he's very strange. I don't know how this would have made any sense. I guess people are kind of excited about it because it's Darth Maul, but it doesn't make sense. You can't just keep bringing the guy back. So they want to be stormtroopers forever. So they go to a far corner of the galaxy, start their own country and their own rebellion. They want to be stormtroopers forever. I don't know that I ever got that vibe from stormtroopers. Like, that they felt like, when they would talk and stuff, they just felt like guys. Like, it didn't feel like it was a cult as much as it was just they were doing their jobs. And in fact, even in Solo, you see that where Han was thinking about joining them as a pilot or whatever.
This is where I sign up to be a pilot, right?
If you apply for the Imperial Navy, but most recruits go into the infantry.
I'm going to be a pilot.
Okay, move forward.
Best in the galaxy.
You there. Come with us.
That's kind of what's presented. Even with Finn, you kind of get that undertone. Like, it's not like they're all just part of this massive cult of Palpatine or the Empire. They're like George likes to base it on wars. Well, the reality of it is a lot of people in, whether it's Nazi Germany or anywhere else, a lot of people got along to get along. They didn't all necessarily believe in the ideology of the state, but many of them didn't want to lose what they had, so they went along with things, and bad things as well, to preserve. So it's weird to me. It just kind of seems that this is where it's getting a little bit weird with Maul, and then with this. There's a power vacuum, so gangsters like the Hutts are taking advantage of the situation and there's chaos. Okay, that's cool. I like bringing the Hutts back in. The key person is Darth Maul, who had been resurrected in the Clone Wars cartoons. He brings all the gangs together. Maul's very old. We have two versions of him, one with a set of cybernetic legs like a spider, which they already did, and he didn't have when he fought Obi-Wan on Tatooine and got killed again. So why would we do this again? And then later on, he has metal legs, and he has a little bit bigger, more of a superhero. We did all this in the animated series. He was in a bunch of episodes. Well, yeah, so why would you have him have cybernetic legs in the sequels, or is he just saying that's just what we did? It's a little weird. And then he had them again in Solo, so okay, so I guess whatever, he'd probably just have his regular legs, he wouldn't have the spider legs. I think he's just saying that's what they did in Clone Wars. All this is something we ultimately saw in Disney's own interpretation of the Star Wars universe, albeit Maul died a second death in the current canon. Exactly, so that doesn't add up. Maul would have had an apprentice, Darth Talon. I actually would have liked this character to be in it. You know, I don't think Darth Maul was necessary for her to be in it. Although Legacy was set hundreds of years after the Star Wars original trilogy, Talon would have served as one of the saga's main antagonists, setting up a parallel between the heroic sides focused on the tribulations of Leia. She rebelled to new problem. Darth Maul trained a girl, Darth Talon, who was in the comic books as his apprentice. She's the new Darth Vader, and most of the action was with her, so these are the two main villains of the trilogy. Okay, again, it's just Maul being there is weird. I know the idea of a of a female main antagonist in a feature film is appealing, but again, this the whole Maul thing is just it's throwing me off, man. He's how many times are you gonna resurrect this guy? Like, think of a new idea, right? That's where I'm coming from, and that's. In my rewrite, what I did is I thought of a new villain to come out instead of continuing to just rehash characters that have already died multiple times. I think that's kind of a mistake, and it's as much as I love Maul and it would be cool on screen, it'd be cool to watch. Then when I reflect on the story, it would kind of be like, man, again, this guy? He becomes the godfather of the crime in the universe. As the Empire falls, he takes over. Trying to build the Republic. So I don't know how many years this is after the fact. After Endor or whatever, but they're still building the Republic, so it hasn't been firmly established. Luke would have still been trying to rebuild the Order as we saw in The Last Jedi, but there would have been, well, we sort of saw in The Last Jedi until it was burned down or whatever, but there would have been a much larger group of Jedi for him to start out with, and maybe would have seen himself at least leave that Order in the hands of those Jedi, considering Lucas. I'm actually kind of a fan of the fact that there wasn't a whole ton of Jedi in the sequels. I think ending this Skywalker saga with a preeminent focus on them as a family, and how they impacted the galaxy and everything else, I think is a better send off than the whole pile of more characters. Not to say you couldn't have some at the end too, but I don't know. A handful or something would have been cool. I don't know, but whatever. That's fine. So she's trying to restart the Jedi. So he's still trying to restart the Jedi. So again, how many years after does this take place? He puts the word out. So out of 100,000 Jedi, maybe 50 or 100 are left. That sounds like a lot. Like, out of 100,000 Jedi, maybe 50 or 100 are left. So I'm assuming he's talking about there was 100,000 at Order 66. But why would there still be 50 or 100 left? It doesn't work with the Mandalorian. I'm confused. That doesn't even really work with Fallen Order either, because Fallen Order he's looking for well, maybe there might have been 50 on that hall. I don't know. It just seems like a lot. They have to go and train from scratch. So Luke has to find 2 or 3-year-olds and train them. It'll be 20 years before you have a new generation of Jedi. But ultimately, the focus would have been on Leia's fight more than Luke's. By the end of the trilogy, Luke would have rebuilt much of the Jedi, and we would have the renewal of the New Republic with Leia, a senator again, and becoming Supreme Chancellor in charge of everything. So she ended up being the chosen one. Okay. Fine, I'd love to know how that happens. Okay, so this isn't all the details of this, but it would have been better than what we got, but there'd still be problems. And the number one problem is bringing back Darth Maul again after he died again. It's like Weekend at Bernie's now at that point. Like, it's getting too much. I don't like. It didn't say in this article here. I don't like this idea of a stormtrooper planet. They, as I mentioned, that's kind of weird. And I also hoped that the villain of the story sort of would have capped the connection with the family more, rather than it being Darth Maul, who he doesn't have a whole lot of interaction with Skywalkers, period, that I know of. I guess in Clone Wars maybe he does to some extent, but isn't it mostly like Ahsoka, Obi-Wan? This is, in my opinion, I don't know, you guys tell me in the comment section, in my opinion, this is a better story, but still, there's still problems with it. It still overlooks certain things, certain canon things. I don't think that's the best way to go either. I think, again, better, but still would have had problems. People still would have complained. I would have complained to some degree. I'm already complaining about it. So I think there was something better. You guys let me know in the comment section, and thanks again. Please like and subscribe. Have a good day.